When you are working on photographs, it can be really confusing and hard to work with the colors of them. So I'm going to explain real quickly how a camera works when it's taking colors. So cameras actually take 3 black and white photos. One black and white photo is taken underneath a red color filter. And then another black and white photograph is taken underneath a green color filter. And then the third black and white photograph is taken underneath a blue color filter. So every single picture is actually nothing but black and white, except it's 3 different black and white pictures. Now if I click on the red channel and I show the saturation of that to be higher, you can see these are the parts of the picture that are more red. And let me undo that, and I'll go to the orange part of the picture. These are the parts that are a little bit more orange. And the yellow part, these are the parts that are a little bit more yellow. And then the green part, these are the parts that are a little bit more green. And then the light blue part, those are the parts that are a little bit light blue. Then the blue part, these are the parts that are a little bit bluer. And you'll notice some of the things in the shadows have a little bit of a blue tint to them from the sky, even if they're white. And then here's the purple channel. These are the things that have a little bit of a purple tint to them. And then here is the pink channel. These are the things that have a little bit of a pink tint to them. So as you can see, those are the different parts of the colors of the picture. And if you go back and you clear all these out, and if you go back to the main color channel, the white one, white contains all primary colors equally. So if I raise the saturation back to the normal level, you'll see the picture. However, though, you can now tell that colors in photographs are very subjective. These colors, in fact, aren't probably actually quite right. You see, because those people are mostly in the shadow. And this photograph was taken in the sun with sunny white balance, which is around 52 to 5600 K. And the Nikon camera that it was taken with used a temperature of 5200. So let's raise that temperature up a bit to make those shadows a little bit more accurate. In fact, I can show you, watch this, I can show you how the shadows actually have a bit of a blue tint to them. So let me go back and decrease the saturation back to black and white. I'm going to go to the blue channel and watch as the shadows brighten. See how her dress brightens up and a lot of things in the shadows got brighter? That's because a lot of the stuff in the shadows has a little bit bluer of a tint to it. Shadows, in fact, have a color temperature that is sometimes thousands higher than the parts that are in the sun. So let's go ahead and do maybe something like that. Now as you can see, when you're in black and white, you can't really tell what it's actually doing. See that? Let's just do maybe like 59, 57, 56 maybe. Then let me add some more saturation to it. And maybe, now by the way, instead of doing just saturation, you can also do vibrancy. Vibrancy protects some tones more than others. Well, there we go. Now as you can see, there's a little bit too much green. We can actually correct that by lowering the amount of green a little bit. And another way to do that actually is in the color temperature itself. If we go up here, we can make the tint be somewhat magenta. See that? So there we go. We can also set the white balance manually. If we click on the white balance color picker, we can choose something white and it will set it to that white balance. So we could pick his collar, we could pick her wedding dress, if I pick this part of our wedding dress that has a more of a shadow on it, and the white balance was measured as 62 and 94. So that's cool. Now let's add a little bit of that. And this looks nice. Now let's go back, lower the vibrancy a little bit. Maybe be like 30. Raise the saturation to maybe be like 10. And the color, the picture is already looking a lot warmer and nicer. Now let's go ahead and add a little bit of gamma to it. A gamma curve doesn't affect the brightness very much of the highlights, but it just raises the curve of the shadows a little bit more. Now it lowers the contrast when it does that, so you might need to add a little bit more contrast to make up for it. In fact, one thing that also helps make up for increasing the gamma is actually it also gives you some headroom to increase the saturation and the vibrancy as well, like this. Now let's zoom in closely and look carefully at their skin tones. And I want to show you something really important. There's something called micro contrast. If I raise the micro contrast, you can see all of the little shadows and even the veins, blood vessels, and things like that are under the skin. So it makes the skin look kind of a little bit harsher. But if you just simply lower the micro contrast, it makes the skin look more smooth. So you can just lower it to whatever you think looks the most natural to you. And there we go. Perfect, that looks pretty good to me. And if somebody has a spray tan, by the way, sometimes you have to lower the micro contrast a lot more, because especially if you have a really high quality camera, the spray tan can look really, really harsh. I have no idea if this bride has a spray tan or not. Their skin looks amazingly smooth already, and so does his. So there we go. We've edited the picture, made it look really amazing. Just a few quick adjustments.